What would
The
we be
savior.
without him?
Really, the life savior.
He's our go-to. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's our
Yeah.
go-to guy, and our number one 3 times now guest. If one more time, and she gets like a 6-pack of soda or something.
At least
At least
that'd be nice. The all-star of
she did
Foxtown.
already
Thank you,
kind of
guys.
hint at
Thank you,
when's my
guys.
name going up on your
Yeah,
show.
I think we might be a trio now at this point.
Clearly.
We're
Yeah.
very close. We're
Back
very
from
close.
the wilds of the brush fire.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking last time I did this with you guys, I was not here. I was very far from here in a much different atmosphere.
Your hair was
so-
blowing. You were
in the
showing
wind,
big smokes.
yes,
of fire.
lots
It
of
was-
smoke, lots of fire.
It was something else. Did
Better
a great
air
job.
quality here. That's
Did a
for
great job.
For sure.
Was that your first? Real quick, was that your first like Arizona wildfire? I can't remember.
That was my first overnight long trip,
Gotcha.
Arizona wildfire.
Yeah.
But we did a couple last year
That's
too.
that steps
so-
it up a notch
yes,
a little bit.
Well, it
definitely.
kind of seems like too. There's no end to fire season here.
Yeah,
No,
right.
no,
You know,
it's not really I mean, kind of a lot of places now, right?
Yeah.
Not just
For sure. And
months.
speaking of fires, a big story today, it's kind of been the past couple of days, this crazy video, right? I
Yes.
mean, have you seen much of it before you walked in today?
I've been combing through it. I mean, just
Gosh.
seconds and seconds. You keep watching this video, and I'm sure maybe we have it
Yeah,
for people
yeah.
to look at as well.
Let's
but,
take a look
I
real
mean,
quick.
crazy video.
Yeah.
Get out, get out, get out! Get out! Wow.
I'm going to talk through what's happening here. Essentially, a car crash on the I-10, and this officer, talk about right place, right time. He was coming back from the intake transfer jail, so just happened to be going on his way back to Goodyear, walked up to that car completely engulfed in flames, and you see or you hear the horn just honking and honking. That's the driver inside.
God.
Oh.
Pleading for help. They couldn't do anything to get
Whoa.
out, but just honk the horn and honk the
Whoa.
horn. And thankfully, that officer had a glass shattering device because we've seen stuff like this before, and it's really hard to break the glass of a car.
Right.
Thankfully, he was able to get the girl out of the car. And I mean, anybody, but it's the daughter of a Goodyear firefighter.
No kidding.
Wow. What are the
So
chances?
Talk about the law
right?
enforcement
Yeah.
family. So, I mean, that video is just crazy.
Well, and watching that too, it really looked like if this was a minute longer or, even half a minute, it could have been a different outcome.
Yeah, we've learned she's going to be okay, but the burns are really bad. So
Oh,
like you
goodness.
said, I mean, you can just see the flames are in that entire front seat, driver, passenger side, the whole front of the car, and they got her out just in time.
Can you imagine? I mean, can you just, when you put yourself where she was, do we know why she couldn't make it out yet? I know you're still working on your
Yeah.
story. Was she
It seemed like it was a crash.
Yeah, it was a 2-car crash.
Okay.
So the car was crashed. It's kind of turned around
Okay.
and the shoulder on the freeway and just completely engulfed in flames. I think just when something like that happens, getting in a crash, you can't really open the driver door. They actually got her out through the window.
Gosh.
So-
And like you said, that setup of just you're kind of out of it after a crash, and then you have just you're there and you wake up and your car's on fire.
And even the officer, we heard from him like just in the last hour, you can tell he's in shock. He just said,
Really?
I was just doing my job, very, kept it calm, cool, collected. But in that moment, I can't even imagine knowing seconds later could have been a lot different.
There's no way not to take that home with you. I think we have a question. Trenton, can you help? me?
Yeah. Well, we want to welcome Little Philosophy. I know we have you on Fox 10 Talks in the morning too. Said saw that footage earlier. It was scary. When was this? Eric Sanchez Sr. asks.
So it happened really early in the morning on Sunday. So around 4:30 in the morning. We don't know where the drivers were going or, the circumstances of that. But the officer was just working a normal early morning patrol shift. And not only after he got her out of the car, he got a fire extinguisher and was able to put out flames that were all on her hair and her body. And then he just went to work, putting up flares on the freeway, guiding traffic. It shows you the training that,
Yeah.
they go through and just kind of, I guess, you click into a different mode.
Yeah. I mean, instantly when I saw this video, it reminded me of the other rescue we saw several months ago in the valley of, again, a police officer on his way home, a motorcycle
Yep.
unit, and was being flagged down by Good Samaritans too to
Yep.
try to get that person out of the overturned truck.
Yeah.
And really, like you said, instinct kind of takes over, jumping into action, really not worrying about themselves and pulling another person out of a burning vehicle. I mean, it's just heroic, really, what they do.
Kinsey,
Yeah.
what about a story like this? What do you when you kind of craft it? Do you just kind of let the video speak for itself, so to speak, or how do you handle
I
that?
think a story like this, we watch the video so many times, and when you're trying to put it together in a minute 15, a
Right.
minute 30, it's easy to get caught up in either the writing and stuff like that, but realizing that a viewer might be only watching this video for the very first time.
Right.
So kind of I try and write it in a way of walk them through what they're seeing and kind of paint the picture for them, and just let them watch it as much as I can.
And real quick, you and I both were on a weird thing that a lot of people
Yes.
maybe don't know about. We're both today covering stories where we weren't at the news conference, which always feels a little weird to me.
Mhm.
Like you want to be there as much as you can, just to get the lay of the land and feel like you're part of the story instead of it coming to you. Does that bother you at all?
I think it's the hardest way to tell a story, really, because you're going back and watching this, and probably same with you. I mean, we had our laptops kind of in a similar area, and you're kind of thinking of questions you might have asked or you want to ask, but
You
Well,
want-
and you're
opportunities
kind
come
of
and gone.
almost doing double the work, right? Because not only are you having to go over every bit of what was asked in that to see, hey, would I have done something differently? But you're having to connect all the dots too that you might not know about to really get a hold of the topic.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to, paint the best picture we can for a viewer as well. So going through that, putting that together. But like you said, I mean, a story like this, it's really all about the video, the sound. I mean, the sounds in that body cam video is
Yeah.
crazy.
It really it takes it home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And your story's going to be mainly at 5 tonight?
We'll have it at 5, and then later tonight as well. We have, we were hoping to maybe hear from the family of the victim,
Yeah.
the Goodyear firefighter, but because she is in the hospital, the victim, and they're dealing with a lot in that, we do have a statement from the family, so we might have a little bit more later tonight as well, but mainly at 5 o'clock on
Good
Fox
stuff.
10.
Great work as always.
Our
Thank
number
you.
one guest, Kinsey
Yeah.
Beach.
Honored to be here.
Thanks, Kinsey, for coming in.
Appreciate it. We know you got to
Appreciate
get back.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, also coming up in the early shows, we have Steve Nielsen on the line. Steve, can you hear us okay?
I got you. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Hey, so you and I were talking about this story earlier with a fascinating study that just came out about golf courses and a link to health. Break that down for us real quick. What did researchers find?
It is really interesting. Obviously, golf course stories in general hit a lot harder here just because there's a golf course on every single street corner, it feels like. So what this researcher found, they looked at data in Minnesota and in the upper Midwest area, and they found that living within a mile to 3 miles away from a golf course increases your chance of getting Parkinson's by 125%. So more than
Wow.
doubles your chances of getting Parkinson's. It's just a huge stat there. So I got to talk to this researcher because she's actually in Arizona. She's a researcher at Barrow Neurological Institute right here in Phoenix. And I've got some good news though with that horrific number you just heard there. So all of their research again was just because of the data they had in the Minnesota area specifically. They didn't have that same data accessibility here. There's an assumption that this is, I don't know if assumption is the right word, but that this could be pesticides related though. They don't have the data to say what the cause is, but there's been other research that shows some links between Parkinson's and pesticides.
We had a quick freeze up on Steve. I'm sure we'll get him back in a second, but you wonder how they must have done that study. I mean, literally looking at people who you find the cancer cases, and then someone said, we should see where all these people live.
Right.
And then, but then you still, what's around there causing all these problems? And then somebody at some point goes, well, there sure are a lot of golf courses around where all these people are getting sick. I mean,
Man. Well, that was the thing too when I first heard about this story of everywhere you look in the valley, there's courses everywhere.
Yeah.
And you grab that headline of what is this going to mean for everybody else? Would people actually move it? And that was a conversation I was actually having with my wife was if they definitively prove that it's tied to something that's out of someone's control, do you think people are going to move from golf courses in the valley? You think it's going to be enough?
Well, Steve's desk is near mine, and this morning he
Right.
was talking about.
Right.
Well, how do you cover this story? Which was the next question I was going to ask him. Is like, because golf courses don't want this story front and center. Let's
Yeah.
face it.
Well, and I think we have some footage real quick of Steve Nielsen.
There he is.
I pulled, I think, 10 different clips just in the last year of Steve on golf courses. So if there is a reporter that needs to pay attention to the story and could do, I think, the best with it, it's Steve Nielsen.
He knows a thing or two about golf.
He does. He does.
That's another thing I was going to ask him too. Like, is your ideal story to be just a golf correspondent of some sort? I bet he might say yes.
Yeah. Digging deeper with Steve Nielsen on
Well,
golf courses.
I don't know if you guys had the same thought, but is it causation or correlation?
Right.
My words aren't great today, but
Right.
a golf course generally will have more older people living next to it, right?
Excellent point.
Are these people who are already prone to getting Parkinson's and the golf course has nothing to do with it?
Right. And you think later in life, you've finally been able to save up enough for that dream home on the green, and then you're just in that age group that's a little more likely to be in that demographic for Parkinson's. It
And
could
let's
be.
face,
And I
Go
think
ahead.
that's what Steve was kind of getting at
Yeah,
too with
yeah.
that study, was a little premature maybe to put a full bullseye on pesticide.
well, what do you
yeah.
think about that as an executive producer? Like, we get so many studies coming our way, and sometimes they're even fodder for comedians. Like, well, last week you told me this was good, and this week you tell me golfing is bad. I mean, but we're just getting that information from a study.
Yeah,
We either
it
release
is
it or we don't.
interesting, though. Just I know in my mailbox, I know yours as well. Our email inbox that comes in on a daily basis. We'll get 500 different emails from people pitching all sorts of things. But especially when it comes to studies, surveys, it's all about parsing through that data. Is this actually a researched scientific study that we can point to, give folks, hey, people did the work on this one? Or was it an online survey that, again, causation, correlation? Yeah.
Well, so I think we're going to take a little break, and then I believe Steve is back.
Yeah.
So hopefully we got all the technical problems. Zooms, man.
I
They're
know,
there,
it's so
they're
tough.
gone.
And of course, where he's about to tee up his story.
Good one.
for
Good one.
the
That's
4
my,
o'clock.
puns are my thing, dude.
That is
Stay in
very
your
true.
lane.
The master.
There's Steve. Steve, we're
A bunch of health
Hold up.
issues.
All right,
hold
stand
up.
by.
Hold up, Steve. You want to take it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hey, you're watching Fox 10 Talks. I'm Trenton Hooker. This is Brian Webb. We have Steve Nielsen on the line. We were just digging into the link of a current study on living on a golf course increases your risk 125% for pesticides. Want to welcome everybody with the chat. I know you guys are weighing in. Thank you, guys. Keep your questions coming. We'll definitely get them out here. Steve, real quick, Michael Obie, our director, was mentioning just about that link, causation, correlation. You got older folks living on the greens. They're in that prime demo to be in the risk category for Parkinson's. You were telling us on the break real quick, you asked that with this researcher. Take it away.
I did, yeah. So they found a 125% increase in cases of Parkinson's if you live, 1 to 3 miles away from a course. Specifically in Minnesota, though, was where this research was done, and they said that they made sure that all of their data accounted for any age issues, economic differences and disparities there. They put all that together, and they're not willing to say yes, this is pesticides, and that's because that was not what this research was doing. It was just looking at that connection between living next to the course and Parkinson's. The next step might be trying to figure out what the causation is, not just this correlation. But they have found in other studies, though, where courses that use pesticides, they were mentioning at Cape Cod, there was 4 courses out there that the pesticides, they know it got into the groundwater out there. So that has happened before. But guys, where I got cut off last time before my phone wonderfully overheated and cut me off, this is the most important thing for us in Arizona. Really important here. This research was only done in Minnesota. So what she said is that areas like Arizona, the desert Southwest that are low in humidity, likely don't have anywhere close to this issue.
Okay.
And
Wow.
that's because we don't use pesticides nearly as much as they do in Minnesota, where they've got a pest problem up there. They've just got far more insects up there. The aesthetics of the course are different. Just a whole different slew of issues up there with the high humidity. So she was saying once they finally can get those numbers on Arizona, she expects it'll be a lot less here.
Hey, Steve, real quick, we were talking earlier about the difficulty of putting a story together like this because no golf course really wants, hey, Steve, sure, come out and talk to us about Parkinson's and golf. How did you end up handling that today?
It's a good point. I reached out to a bunch of different organizations that represent multiple different golf courses. I called a whole bunch of different golf courses. I called cities that run golf courses. You're right. They didn't want to talk with me. So the way I did is I actually went to an indoor golf simulator today and talked to a bunch of golfers there that are trying to get out of the heat. And I had fun talking with this one guy, Lincoln, who you'll see in my story at 5:30. He was chit-chatting with me. He's doing the golf simulator for a whole bunch of other reasons. And I was like, hey, here's another one that might lower your chance of getting Parkinson's too. So
Good stuff.
It's interesting on trying to cover these things because you're right. And we don't want to single out one course. We're not
Right.
trying to say playing golf at that course is an issue or anything like that. But we want to be able to tell the story, especially get the golf courses side of this whole thing too. There was some pushback from the courses about the methodology in this. But I will stress this is from Barrow Neurological Institute. This isn't, from some janky website or something like that. This is the real deal, and this has been vetted by peers and everything. So this is real research that's out here.
Hey, Steve, I wanted to ask you real quick. One thing we were talking before we lost you last break. People look at this study. They love where they live. They love the golf course where they live. What's your read? Do you feel like any of it's going to be enough to move the needle on people rethinking their choice of a home?
Gosh, no. I don't think so. I think it would be far and far away from that happening. I think for people to make a change like that, there'd also have to be other options. If you think about it in Arizona, I tried to find this number, I couldn't, but I got to think 90% of us, I'm just throwing out numbers. Please don't quote me on that, I guess. But we all live close to a golf course, right? I know I live within a mile of a golf course. No one would ever say I live near a golf course, though. It's a community away, but that's technically a mile away from me. So
Yeah.
in Arizona, there's always a golf course a mile or two away from you. I think we're all a part of this. So let's just hope we don't use a lot of pesticides out here, I guess.
And little philosophy weighing in on the chat, maybe do a study at a university with lots of grass as well.
Exactly.
Good point.
Hey, Steve, real quick, your ideal job, would that be some sort of golf correspondent
Yeah.
kind of guy.
Well, you've seen the movie Tin Cup, right, with Kevin
Exactly.
Costner. Mix that in with journalism. That's Steve Nielsen,
Oh,
really.
man, just blew my mind right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Are-
What's going on here?
Do those jobs exist? Oh, that's there you
Steven
are
last
in all
year.
your glory.
Amazing.
I do. You guys know me. I love my golf stories. I played high school golf, and just had such a passion for it. I really wanted to pursue it, guys. This is how bad of a golfer I am. I played
You
golf.
just said you played on the high school team. I thought I was.
So I played golf
Yeah,
every
a
day
pro.
with a guy who's on the Live Golf Tour right now, Cameron Tringali.
Whoa.
Wow.
I think he's a top 75 golfer in the world. I played with him every day. We had scouts from every university in the country came to watch him play every
Yeah.
day, meaning they watched me play too.
Mm-hmm.
Just how many scholarship offers I got.
Oh, I'm gonna say
A lot
let's
more
read
than
the journal.
Webb and I
okay,
did.
more than
Yeah.
Trenton and
yeah,
I combined.
Significantly more.
If you got one,
Yes,
that's
yes.
something.
Yeah.
Well,
Zero.
zero.
Well,
Okay.
and Steve was also a child actor who appeared with Shooter McGavin, the actor Christopher McDonald, right? You had some
True.
screen time with
Good
him
memory.
for your golfing
Uh-huh.
prowess.
I don't know about this.
Mhm, mhm.
Is
Steve
this
was almost
I
asked
was,
on Happy
I-
Gilmore too to
You have
make
that-
an appearance.
Oh, is
I
that like on
believe,
VHS
yeah.
somewhere?
Yeah,
I can go
guest
find.
starring.
Yeah, I was an extra on Leave It to Beaver. I was one of Beaver's friends at his birthday party.
What?
And we made too much noise on the set. It's a whole bunch of 10-year-olds all playing together, right? So the director kept just chewing us out to be quiet, and Christopher McDonald kept coming over and kind of egging us on to be louder and louder. He thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So Steve got a taste of the dark side of Hollywood,
Yeah, right
really,
there,
and he was
yeah.
like, "Not for me."
yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's a whole nother segment. We're gonna have to deep
Yes.
dive on that.
Yes.
pretty
I have a
soon.
headshot I'm gonna need signed later.
Yes.
Good stuff, Steve. Thanks,
Steve,
man.
Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you guys.
Careful out
Thanks.
there.
Okay. Watch Steve at 5:30 tonight, guys.
Sounds good.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
Obi, what do you think, Michael?
I mean, I have no athletic talent, and nobody came to even look. There was no recruiters even in my neighborhood looking for.
Do-
Although I wish I played golf in high school because I would be a lot better at it. I feel like it's one of those sports you got to start early.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just tortured for life.
So where are
Yeah.
you now on the scope of golfers?
I think high score wins, right? Is that how that
Yeah.
sport works?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm in the tortured for life category on the latter end.
It's
of
just
that.
such a commitment to me.
It
I
is.
mean,
It
the
is.
time, the money. I mean,
Well, I think it's the embarrassment
and
too.
that too.
Being a grown
Definitely
man
that.
going in and all the other grown men know the rules.
Well, oh, Michael,
You
let me
don't.
just tell you what it's like to play in high school when you don't really play. You sneak on the country club on the fourth floor, on the fourth hole, in cutoff jeans and no shirt on, and you think you're fooling these people at the country club, and you try to sneak in golf that way. That's how we did it back in my hometown.
yeah. There's no
Cut off
fooling.
jeans was the golf attire in the 80s. I
In
think, right?
in,
Right.
in Newton, Kansas, it was for guys who shouldn't be on the golf course. That's for sure.
If you hit it into the corn, is that a playable lie or is that automatic? out of
Wheat,
bounds?
dude, wheat.
Oh, sorry.
Corn is
soybean
some
now.
Nebraska.
Then you find yourself in a Stephen King novel. It's easy.
All right. Should we change gears real quick?
Yeah, let's switch gears into what you were working on today. Very interesting. Take it
Okay,
away.
so maybe people remember this whole thing about South American theft rings
Mhm.
going on. It dates back in the Valley more than a year.
Yeah,
They were calling it the dinner time burglaries. I covered that story.
right.
Over the weekend, there was another big bust, and I don't know, were they given a name like that? I don't.
I think they're just calling them, South American
Yeah.
theft ring.
And
Organized
I
theft
did,
ring.
yeah. So
Right, right.
like Kinsey, I did not go to the news conference today.
Yeah,
I watched it after the fact.
yeah.
And I double checked though. They don't think that the dinner time burglars, burglars, and these guys, they're similar but not the same. Both from South America, one
Yeah.
Chile, one Colombia. And the officer told me that one group did the dinner time. These guys were more daytime.
Right.
But you got to wonder, is like word spreading among theft rings that, hey, let's go up to
Scottsdale's the
Scottsdale.
place to be.
They were caught in Scottsdale living in
Right.
a rental home.
Well,
Brunch is open.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Maricopa County attorney Rachel Mitchell, she held a press conference on this day. I think we
Yes,
have some
yes.
sound. Want to
This
play
kind of
side by side.
information sharing, this kind of intelligence sharing means so much when we can get connected and get tips on different crews like this and then make the arrests and help solve the crimes and help restore families and help basically bring justice for these victims.
Well, that wasn't
That was
Rachel
my
Mitchell.
bad.
That's
That was my
okay.
bad. That
Yeah,
was my bad.
yeah.
Because
So a little behind the scenes there playing
yeah,
out.
that
right?
was Officer Aaron Boland from Scottsdale PD.
Yeah, yeah.
Rachel Mitchell was also there, and she kind of went off on something like, had these guys just popped up naturally and maybe no one gave it a second thought,
Yeah.
all of the suspects from this burglary ring would have been eligible to bond out on their own. And she was bringing that up as a point that this system needs to change. She
Right.
is keeping them on $150,000 bond, so they hopefully will be behind bars,
Yeah.
she said,
Well,
through the process.
the details on this one like really struck me as wow, that's fascinating because we got the court records. We were looking at it past few days when the arrest first happened on the weekend, right? And these 7 suspects in particular, at least according to Scottsdale PD, what they were breaking down is, one of them were using an Uber Eats vehicle delivery as part of the con. And then also there was a lady who was walking her dog as kind of a lookout,
Yeah.
At the home too, that they were casing to then go and rob.
The
It-
dog walker is the lookout. The
Right.
Uber Eats is the getaway car, and the guys are going in there and stealing stuff: Rolex watches, fancy shoes, fancy
Wow.
jewelry, and the similar with the dinner time burglaries. Remember, they were going through golf courses.
Yeah.
Somehow that made sense. They could backtrack to the back of the house and maybe get in that way. I
Yeah.
don't think once you get in the house, I remember hearing a burglar say that everybody keeps their expensive stuff, like jewelry and stuff, like right next to their bed. Like they always know. I think it was something like that. They always know right where to go in there. It's where everybody keeps their stuff. They think it's safe, but when they're not there, there you go. I just tipped off.
yeah,
Move your stuff away
just
from
the
your
idea. You
bedstand.
got all this stuff in your home, and the cruise. It's not like you just got to lock your front door. It's you have to lock your front door. Got to look out for the Uber Eats driver. Got to look out for the lady walking her dog.
And during the middle of the day, I mean, that's
Yeah.
when they know people are not home. If you do it at night, you might bump
Brazen.
into somebody. Hey, we
Brazen.
have a special guest coming up in a couple of minutes.
We do. Really, the magic behind.
He
I know
is
a
the
series
magic.
you've been working on. Brian Kay, a
Fabulous
photojournalist
photographer.
extraordinaire.
And we're going to find out he's not just a photographer. He's like almost a movie director.
Yeah.
And he bosses me around to no end.
Yeah, talent wrangler and whisperer.
Talent wrangler.
you could say.
I always said my genius is knowing when to get out of BK.
Hey, you're watching Fox 10 Talks. I'm Trenton Hooker, Brian Webb. We have another special guest,
Drum
Hello.
roll, please.
least of which the host
All
of
right.
Drone Zone,
Yep.
Brian Kay. Brian, we were here to talk about What's in a Name Arizona, a show that you're doing with Brian
B Webb here.
going to different locations.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I've been on every iteration of Fox 10 Talks now, so check this one off the list here.
yes.
But we
This is
saved the
great.
good stuff for this show.
Oh,
like,
I
don't know
know,
what
I
you're
know.
talking to Ron Hoon
Right.
about. This is going to be way better.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Hey, and we want to welcome you guys watching on YouTube. Know a lot of you are weighing in today. We really appreciate that. Got any questions during our talk? We'll be sure to get those in. So keep them coming.
And
Love
let
it.
us know if you want us to come to your hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it has a strange name that we can kind of dig into. But
Find out why it has a name. That's what
In
we're
your
doing.
home, really, you can make a personal appearance. So
Oh, yeah.
we could talk about that.
Mhm.
Sure.
Do you want to talk about what should we tackle first, BK?
Well, you tell me, B
Well-
Webb.
Well, so real quick,
First
All
of all, that BK B Webb,
We're
we
the-
refer to ourselves as the
the
B
B
team
team.
when we're out working
Yes.
together.
yes,
And we make it very easy on everybody that we meet because I'm Brian and he's Brian. So
awesome.
Yeah.
so one of
one
you are
name.
gonna
and
be-
then if they run afoul of what BK wants them to do, watch out.
No,
He is
what?
like, taskmaster. No, don't
Just-
talk
just
about this.
because-
Don't do that.
Just because one time I told you get your hands out of your pockets, right? now
So
I'm.
we got our first question in.
Okay.
Little
good.
philosophy asking, what temperatures do drones overheat at?
Oh, good. question.
Well, we talked about that this morning in the morning meeting. 104 is when we're not going to
So about 8
fly.
a.m.
So
in the
yeah,
valley.
so by 10 a.m. we're grounded.
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that like a manufacturer thing or your rule?
That's pretty much a rule with
Okay.
flying drones and our rule as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to fly over 104 because you got the batteries and if the drone overheats and who
Yeah.
knows what's going
right.
to happen.
In certain
And they
times of
control it.
day, we don't fly either. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a very short window.
And
Yes,
places you have to scope that out before you can go up. Make
Well-
sure it's clear.
Yeah, well, we're always checking the weather and stuff, so we want to make sure, if we're going up north around this time of year, we're probably pretty good, but staying in the valley, if we don't get up in the air before 10 o'clock, we're probably grounded because it's,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
105 by
Yeah.
9,
Justin
10
Lum
o'clock.
went in stacked lineup today.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Wait to get him back on. So real quick, when we're talking about what's in a name Arizona,
Yes.
when Brian Webb pitched this idea to me, telling me about what you guys were going to go out and do, I love the concept, but I know getting off the ground, how we would traditionally tell a broadcast story and turning that into
Right, right.
what became What's in a Name Arizona, that was a little bit of a journey. Can you talk about that?
It was. When we first started, Brian and I, we go all over, cover stories all over the state. So we always see like names of towns and cities and like, how did that get its name? So that's how we came up with the idea. And then we started off with Fountain Hills, right? And we put that together and
Shocker, there's a fountain. in
there's a
Hills.
fountain, right? So we kind of find out how that got its name. But yeah, I would say the way we want to put this together is kind of like a show and tell, walk and talk. Like we don't want traditional reporters saying, and then we went to the museum and saw this or whatever it is. We want Brian to just say, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Hey, let
Yeah.
me see this. Show me this.
Which
Tell
honestly
me about
isn't.
this.
Yeah, I mean, he helped me so much on that because I envisioned it was just going to be a longer version of what I do on the news, and it just quickly not only didn't fit, it just took too long to write and edit that
Right.
way instead of just doing a little dance with the person you're
Right.
with, and we usually try to hit at least 3 people
Three
per
different
town.
places, people, yeah. And we don't try to get too much in the weeds. Like we don't want to, we just want people kind of, just in conversation. Tell me why this place has its name. Tell me
Yeah.
the history. Tell me why you do what you do.
Yeah, and I'm sure just like it is anytime you go to these places and you strike up a conversation with someone where, hey, this is their passion project, this is their dream, they're doing what they love to do. It's pretty easy to tap into.
Oh
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. They're
Yeah.
willing to open up and talk. And B Webb,
Well,
he can chat anybody up.
I don't know, but, and I come from a small town, so a little bit of this born out of the idea that I worry about my small town, like little towns, and how are they surviving now? with so many people moving to cities, and what's going on there, and who still lives there, who gravitates to that town versus a big city, and some of that's kind of part of what we do, like Wickenburg. You want to talk about Wickenburg? We just did that
Sure,
last
yeah,
week.
we just went to Wickenburg last week.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think we played that clip real quick.
Oh yeah,
let's
we
play
wanna
that
check
clip.
that out?
Yeah, yeah.
We are at the Vulture City Ghost Town. Check this out. Isn't this pretty cool? And Hollis Corey is the man to tell us all about it. Uniform and all, Hollis. Thank you, sir. Talk to me about this ghost town. What goes on here? How did this start? Why are we here?
Well, Vulture City, the story starts back in 1863 when a gentleman by the name of Henry Wickenburg, he was a German immigrant and a well-known prospector. Well, him and two companions, leaving the Weaver Mountain area, were heading to the Harquahala Mountains to prospect for gold, passed right through this very area, stayed overnight. Well, while here, Henry's walking around, and he's actually finding pieces of gold standing on the ground in plain sight.
Just stumbled right on it.
Plain sight, walking around.
And the next thing you know, this area popped up.
He came back from his original destination, set up camp right here, filed a mining claim, the Vulture Mine, and people came from all over. It became a boom town.
So it looks like he just sprang right out of the mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well-
he was dressed up. He was part of a group called the Wickenburg Marshals, and there's more of that in that episode that starts next week.
That's where, how do you made the marshals go through the ropes a couple of times?
Well, yeah, they do a little stunt show, and I put together a little mini. I would call it a little mini movie. So when you do a movie, you have to do the scene a couple times. So I had them do their scene 3-4 times.
So what's that
And,
like? Where they've given, hey, this is my best performance. I
Yeah,
don't have any
yeah.
left. You're like,
They loved
do
it.
it again.
They loved it. They were
loved
all
it.
in. They loved
That's what
every.
he says. I was over there watching on the side going, oh my God.
You were just. I think you were wanting to be a part of it, but I don't think you're quite Wickenburg Marshall.
No, I'm not Marshall material.
Yeah,
I admit it. I admit it. But
Retirement plan, Wickenburg?
yeah.
No? Oh.
Well, BK.
Oh, I brought the bolo
real quick,
tie.
the bolo tie.
The
Yeah.
home of the bolo tie,
Yeah,
right?
that's where Wickenburg is the home of the bolo tie, and this is a bee bolo tie for Bee Web. This is what
Wow.
what we showed off.
Are you gonna?
Do you want
gonna
to
keep
put it on?
All right. Well, yeah.
You gonna put it
It
on?
was
I don't know.
invented in
Wickenburg,
Wickenburg.
by Victor E. Cedarstaff.
Wow, good call. And nothing says Arizona more than a.
No.
Well, you got your headphones on.
Anyway.
I'll put it on for you.
Anyway.
I mean,
All right,
honestly,
bow
I
out.
think we need to debut it this weekend during the newscast.
Oh,
We
yeah.
put a Fox 10 logo right on that.
Well, we talked
I don't know
about
if I'm
there was
wearing the
a,
right shirt
a
for this,
news
but-
guy back in the day. What
Mm-hmm.
was his name, BK? The news guy wore a bolo tie every night for the people who've been around here a
Yeah,
long time.
yeah.
Every night he wore a bolo tie.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
That was the thing.
I can't believe the guy who invented the bolo tie. His last name isn't Bolo. Well, where did Bolo come
Well, it's
from?
named after the Boladero.
Bolotero, right?
Yeah.
Good call. The some
See,
sort
I pay
of.
attention when we
You-
do
he
these
pays
things,
attention.
Bee
I'm
Web.
thinking, what am I ask this person next? And BK's soaking it all. See,
I soak it all
He's a
in.
step
I'm learning
ahead
the
of me.
history of these Arizona towns.
every time. Well, hey, yeah, any towns out there want us to come?
Yeah,
I mean, try to have an interesting name, but we'll figure it out.
yeah. We'll make it work.
A lot of pressure on
Thanks,
the folks
BK.
at home.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming in.
Thanks,
Love
guys.
it.
Yeah, get out of
Thanks,
here because
Brian.
we're talking
All
to
right.
Lindsay Regas now.
All right.
She just got engaged.
We're keeping them coming, folks.
we had an action-packed lineup tonight.
It does. All stars.
Lindsay
coming in
Regas,
tonight.
her first visit with us.
Yes.
Looking
Happy
good,
to have
Lindsay.
you.
All right.
you.
An extra beaming from ear to ear because you're now engaged.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Oh my gosh.
I am.
Tell us all about it.
What a
it
cool
was
story.
Yeah, it was so exciting. So we went to Spain. His name is Jake. We've been together for a little over 3 years. So we went to Spain for about a week. We went to Barcelona. We went to Seville, but he proposed in Barcelona. It was so cute. He had me get ready. He said, wear a nice dress. I was like, okay. So I was thinking, is something going to happen? So we got ready. It started to drizzle that day. So it was a little, those are the pictures. It was starting to
Gosh,
drizzle.
look at that
so
church. Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Hmm.
It is so beautiful over there. So we're steps away from walking up to where we're going to meet this photographer, and he didn't tell me that we were going to have this photo shoot. So he was like, right when we were going up the steps, he was like, okay, so we are meeting a photographer. He's going to take us on a tour, and we have another one in Seville.
What's your thought when he says about the photographer?
It is like 9:30 in the morning.
Right.
I'm barely awake because you guys know that I like to sleep in.
Yes,
So
confirmed.
I'm just like, what
Really?
is going on?
Don't you know me now?
Yeah. You guys know. You guys know that I love to sleep in. So we're setting this alarm for, I don't know, 7:30 to wake up. I'm
Yeah.
putting makeup on and doing my hair, and then he says that, and it just throws me off because I was like,
The jig wasn't up?
yeah, like, are we going to are we going to have? Why are we having two?
Yeah.
That just doesn't. Or is he just throwing me off? Did
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
Did he just say we're gonna have another one in Seville, but we're?
And you're like, this
we're-
is a vacation. This isn't an
exactly.
itinerary.
Yeah, and then he said we're gonna wake up really early for it too. So I'm like, why are we going to bed early on
2 strikes.
vacation? What's going
I
on
know.
here?
He's barely hanging on at this point.
So we do our little photo shoot. It's in the Gothic Quarter in Barcelona. It's so beautiful. You just saw those photos. And we meet this photographer, and we've never had professional photos done ever. So
Wow.
I didn't know what to expect. And this guy was really low key. You know, I feel like us Americans were very like, go, go, go. And he was so chill. And I was like, are these going to be good photos? Like, I really don't know. Like, is he a good photographer? Where did he find him? Like, and so we take the photos. We get to one spot, and it's an alley. It's beautiful. There's an archway right above us, and the photographer makes us turn around and like face the opposite direction, and then take a step apart. And I'm over here like, what kind of photo is this going to be? Like, this isn't going to look good. So I'm thinking he hired just some random guy to take these photos with no experience.
Hey, there's a guy over there with a camera.
Then I look to my left, and I see a whole bunch of people just stopped. Everyone's walking to work and everything, and everyone's just stopped.
Oh.
Then I look to my right, and this woman pulls out her phone and starts recording. And so, like, now I'm getting nervous. Now I'm like, okay, what's happening? Well, it didn't happen there because I guess there were too many people. So the photographer just stopped. He told me to like turn around, look up, and so I'm just looking up and smiling
Wait,
for like
should we
1
stop the
minute.
story right there and do a cliffhanger? 'Cause we got a break
I think
to do.
we have to. I think we can't finish
Okay.
this one.
Okay, we got to go to break,
Yeah,
Lindsay.
you can
Okay.
hang with us
And then
just for
we're
a
going to nail it on the backside and find out
All
how
right.
it actually happened.
There we go.
I mean,
All right.
I am so impressed with his planning skills.
Oh
Well-
yeah,
when
he
you
did
get into it.
good.
And at this point, again, you weren't 100% sure what's
Oh,
going
no.
to come in
Right.
next.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got a little break to do, and then Lindsay's going to lower the boom on how this all came together. All right.
Too.
Be right back, guys.
Hey, welcome back to Fox 10 Talks. I'm Trenton Hooker, Brian Webb. We have Lindsay Regis joining us with really it's a TV news romance story.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot to mention an important note on this about your fiance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He is a sports reporter and anchor at 12 News. So
You met in a newsroom then, I assume?
We actually didn't. We met in Austin. He was at another station there, too.
Uh-huh.
He was at KVUE. I was at CBS Austin. We met at a bar.
Sure. That's how it used to be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
journalists walk into a bar,
Yeah.
end up in Spain.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you left us hanging. So you were the photographer's there. Turn around.
Oh,
You
yeah.
notice people are watching, and then what happens?
So now I'm just panicking because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's coming. Like, this is crazy. But I'm worried about everyone. It's in an alley. So I'm worried about everyone who's walking by. Like, they need to get to work. And we're just here. Like, do I rush this? Like, what do I do? I'm just all in my head. So it doesn't happen there. The photographer said he just stops taking photos. And I'm like, we good? And he's like, too many people. Let's go. And so apparently that was the plan to do it there. So now Jake is like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on. So we end up at a very cute museum. It was like a terrace, and there were some people working on the plants at the bottom. So we walked up, and it was so beautiful. That's the spot. And when I got there, I was like, oh, this is so pretty. There was no one up there. It was really small, very intimate. And we did that back pose again. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is not a good photo.
Again?
I should have sent it to you guys because you would have seen my face. Like, I was smiling with my teeth, smiling without my teeth. I'm like, I don't know how else to pose with this. So anyway,
And your face starts to hurt. after
yeah,
a
we do
while.
that. We do that pose for a minute, and I'm like, okay, is this good? And then they spoke in Spanish together. I don't speak Spanish. Jake speaks Spanish, and in my head, I'm like, all right, this whole time we've been speaking English. Like, what's going on now? And in Spanish, in Spanish he said, like, do you know what a perfect moment means, or something similar to that? And of course, I said no, and then he explained it, and then he said a few nice things. He has it all memorized. I blacked out at some point. So
This guy is so smooth.
As you do.
Brian, we have nothing on him. I mean, it's pathetic.
And it doesn't stop there. So we had those beautiful photos. We had that beautiful moment. And then we go, so our trip ends a few days later. We go back home. We're in LA, and he has somehow organized on Mother's Day to get my family and his family together and surprise me. And it was just so cool to see them all in one space,
Wow.
because his family is from Central California. Mine's from Southern California. His sister lives in Albuquerque. It just, to see us all together for that moment was amazing.
Congratulations.
He did
Oh
good.
my
Lindsay
gosh.
Reyes.
I know we got a few people in the chat too.
Uh-oh,
wishing
here we
you
go.
Congrats.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
awesome.
That's
That's
awesome. Yeah.
fantastic. You have the
We're
date
very-
yet? Are we still? Or is that a secret? Or do we know?
No, not a secret. So summer of next year, we don't have a month yet or a venue. I think we're going to do it in California.
Mhm.
But that's in the works. We're going to try to soak in being engaged first, because
Yeah,
there's
so
a lot
great.
of planning that goes into a wedding.
Sure. And this was great because this is our first. A lot of times we talk to the reporters kind of about their story and how they
Right.
do it, but this
Mhm.
is our first deep dive into someone's personal life,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Engagement. I
like
mean,
you
come
said
on.
during the break, I mean, I think we need a reality TV series on Fox 10, The Love Life of the Newsroom.
Oh, yeah,
pretty
that
neat.
would be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
can-
we're not
I can
supposed to
talk all
date
day.
anymore at workplaces.
I think that's a
that's
just
taboo.
you thing.
Oh, that
if
was.
I'm not mistaken.
I get it now.
Is that still a rule?
I get it now.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Lindsay, congrats. Thanks for coming
Love
in.
it.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much.
This
Keep
was
us
awesome.
posted.
Of
All right,
course.
who's up next? We have
Well-
Isabella, I believe.
Yes, we do. If we want to play that soundbite, Mike, Isabella Fredrickson, live stream journalist,
Isabella.
did
Oh,
a really good, cool story recently
Thank you.
about a mystery beam of light.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
in the sky. A lot of Arizonans were talking about it. Wasn't last weekend. It was the weekend before,
Mhm.
especially in the high country. People were seeing what looked like a spotlight up in the sky.
Yeah.
UFOs, aliens.
Phoenix lights are back.
Was it the second coming? I don't know.
I mean, and the thing was, it wasn't just visible from Arizona. I mean,
Yeah.
people saw it as far as Montana, Idaho, California, New Mexico, even parts of Denver. So it was a big deal. And out of all the social videos I've done, that was the one that was
Sure.
most interacted with.
Yeah.
The comments were very engaging. A lot of people didn't believe my report.
Yeah.
They thought it was a UFO or an alien, but
Sure.
Yeah.
People
Good
can't get
action.
enough of this stuff here.
Well, Brian,
Yeah.
we covered this on the weekend right
Yeah.
before when it was happening, and then Isabel, you made something really original. that we're doing here at Fox 10. We can play that clip real quick, Mike.
In case you missed it, take a look at this video playing behind me.
Wow.
Fox 10 livestream journalist Isabella Fredrickson here, and this white beam of light appeared in the night
Honestly,
sky
I thought it
on
was just a car
Friday,
dealership
May
with a good
16th at
sale going on.
10 p.m.
Overeager.
This mysterious light confused many, and thousands were taking their guesses and sharing their theories of what this could have been on social media.
I wish I would have seen it.
Some guesses included UFOs, aliens, the northern lights, to other space and weather phenomenons. So what exactly was this unusual white beam of light in the sky? Fox 10 Phoenix spoke to an expert from the Lowell Observatory who confirmed that this mysterious white light in the sky was a result of a Chinese rocket using a new fuel mixture.
All right. Yeah, let's take it back real
This
quick.
new fuel mixture was made.
Wow. So a rocket in the sky was causing that. It wasn't SpaceX. It was a Chinese company, right?
Yeah.
Something about its new fuel was
Yeah.
potentially causing that.
That was a new one on me.
Yeah.
A Chinese rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if people in this city are ever going to be convinced that's not an alien invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
We were talking about that today. 97. A lot of people.
Is that when it was,
Phoenix Lights.
97?
Yes. March 97.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was the thing. I mean, those lights were just.
Well, it kind of
And
turned into a national sensation, right? I mean, we even had the governor weigh in about
Yeah.
saying, saw those lights in the sky.
And if
Yeah.
you don't know, I mean, they were in that perfect shape, which was just even more
Yeah.
confusing. We have somebody weighing in.
Well, yeah, little philosophy. I think you're saying I saw it. The light. It was a bright flash. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And there was
Very
another
nice
one
of
I covered maybe 10, 15 years ago. There was another, every time there's lights in the sky similar to that, we go run and do a story on them. In
course.
part because the Phoenix Lights is still such a big deal.
Yeah.
We actually tracked down, as people were doing the story, what were those lights last night? We found the guy who was lighting flares, attaching them to balloons, and putting them up. And he showed us the whole process. That was I was kind of proud of that. That was our story that day. We found the guy who was faking this whole thing while the other TV stations were doing, was it an alien invasion? Was it another country? And it was this guy in North Phoenix tying a flare to a balloon, and off it went.
How interesting.
Wasn't Brian Kay, was it?
It wasn't Brian Kay.
Okay.
That was when I worked at a different TV station.
Got
But,
Still had an
BK,
interest.
it's amazing if BK would have been on the beat, he
Yes.
would have found it too.
And we would have had a bird's eye view of what it looked like in the sky.
From his
honestly.
drone.
Yes.
Thanks, Isabella.
Super
Great
cool.
job.
Yeah, love it.
Thank
You check it
you.
out every day, right?
Yeah.
You're doing these stories and sharing it with a larger audience.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I
Love
mean,
it.
it's
we
a
need.
team effort. You guys broke it on the weekend,
Mm.
and then I picked it up that Monday for the social video. So
Yeah.
a big team effort for them.
She makes
Keep
it
it
more
going.
palatable for what? Younger people? Is that
Younger
safe to say?
generation.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
just people who want to catch it on
who-
the fly, right?
Yeah, people that don't
Okay.
have cable can't
Yeah.
tune into the real news.
I'm like, how do I log into Instagram?
Oh, I'll show you after.
All right. Thanks, Isabella.
Thank you
Great
so
Awesome,
much.
stuff.
Isabella.
Thank
All right.
you.
We're going to keep this going.
Let's keep it going.
All-star lineup
The
coming
Love
in.
Fest. Look
Richard
who's
Sines.
here. My man, Richard Sines.
We
looking
just
good.
high-fived each other.
Love it.
Isabella and I. She's a tough act to follow. I don't have a
No.
proposal story.
Mhm.
I don't have alien stories.
Why
But
are-
I did go to Europe.
Why are
once.
you here? Oh,
I went to Italy. My sister lived in Hungary, in Budapest, right? So I went to
Wow.
go visit her. And this is before you could just look stuff up on your cell phones, right? I had an Italian to English dictionary.
Oh, my
Had
gosh.
it the whole way. I went from here to Jersey because it was a cheaper flight if I stopped there. I went from there to Frankfurt, Germany.
So
Then
you
I went to
pre-gamed in
Budapest.
Jersey.
Yeah, the whole
Mhm.
way.
Yes.
Yeah, then I finally get to Milan, and I forgot the Spanish to English dictionary on the plane. I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck
So
in
then I'm trying
Milan
to
for life.
ask for the rental car, and I'm like, Dove? And I'm trying to, and the guys, the security guys were like, what? And so I'm like, oh, I'll say it in Spanish because I speak Spanish, so that's kind of close, right?
Yeah.
And then I say it in Spanish, and they're like, what? And I get really frustrated. I'm like, I'm looking for the rental car, and they go, oh, it's down there to the
Yeah,
left.
why
I'm like,
didn't you just say
"Aw."
that?
They were just messing
Why
with me.
didn't you just
They were
say
just
that?
messing with me. They just wanted to see
Oh,
me
that's good
squirm.
stuff. You always have a good story, man.
It's true.
I want you to tell the story about the intern, your
Oh.
intern story at one point, but you're here to talk about our youngest reporter, Blake Neiman, is
Yeah.
on a roll, and
Right.
he's
Wow.
getting a lot of stuff
Hot
done
streak.
with ASU.
He's a superstar in the making. He's from ASU, and I'm part of the mentorship program with the Cronkite School, and I get paired up with an incoming freshman every year because that's the highest dropout rate, right? Because they're away from home for the first time, they've got roommates for the first time, so on and so forth. So I always have them shadow me for one day. I'll take them to lunch and I'll do this kind of stuff, but I have them shadow me for one day. And I took one kid to a Suns game, and it was like Steve Nash era when they were really good, and we get
Right.
the food and the access, and I could see his wheels were turning. And I go, do you have a question? And he was like, no. And I go, no, bro, this is what
Yeah.
this day is about. Like, what's your question? And he was like, so you come to all the games for free? And I go, no, they pay me to come to the games. Needless to say, he did not drop out.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, I'll
And-
go sophomore year now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Blake Neiman went all the way through, and he has a lot of connections to you. Help that ASU stories come alive. They, like all these guys are from Oregon, where he's from, right?
Right, and they're all the same age, right?
Wow.
So he's
Yeah.
come up with them, so he knows them. They trust him.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sam Levitt's from Oregon. He's from Oregon. He was happy to be home when Sam Levitt was holding a camp. So he said, hey, I'll go to the camp. He interviewed Sam Levitt, got a one-on-one interview with him. And now you see Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson using their NIL money to give back. This is a $15,000
Wow.
donation to the Pat Tillman Foundation. And that is awesome because we
Yeah.
all know what Pat Tillman means to not only, the ASU football program, but the football community here. He played for the Cardinals and what he means for this country. He's a hero. So that was really cool to see, like you said, Trenton, these guys to use that money
Yeah.
for something good. Because that was kind of when the NIL first started. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a lot of money for these kids that are not used to having that kind of money. You see it in the NFL or the NBA where these kids get a lot of money and then they blow it all. So to
Well,
see them giving back is really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you think of that age too. It's a lot
I know.
differently than when a celebrity that's been in the game for a while, or an all-star athlete, pro athlete, giving. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But especially for a college athlete, to do that.
Smart.
Big heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
smart-
and you
just
guys
smart
are going to
move.
be talking about it tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, yeah. I have my Fox 10 Talk Sports, right? We call it the fun stuff. Every Wednesday at 6:30, I go straight from the set over here, and we'll be talking about his relationship with Sam Levitt, them giving back, the ASU football program getting the respect it deserves. Now they're on the cover of the EA Sports, so that's pretty cool. They'll
So
be in
cool.
the game, so yeah, Coach Kenny and Sam are on there, right smack dab in the middle. So that's some respect right there.
Good
Man.
stuff,
Cool.
Richard
Yeah.
Signs.
Yeah. Getting some shout outs there in the chat.
Yeah,
Richard,
love it,
you're
love it.
amazing. Go Devils. Yeah, we got some Sun Devils
Oh,
fans
thanks,
there.
Mom.
The
Is
show's
that my
only
mom? Who
good
is that?
because we get good guests, good people watching,
That's it.
chiming in. Thank you for doing
We
that.
really don't have to do anything, and that's
True.
the nice part.
But we'll be
So,
back next Wednesday.
Oh, Alex,
3
my
o'clock.
guy. Hey, Alex. Yeah, go Devils.
Love it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Love it. All right.
That
Yes.
it?
So
Are we a wrap?
yeah, tune in for that, and then 4:00, of course, Fox 10. A lot of stories going on today.
Yeah. See some of the top stories we just talked about, and we'll give this a shot next week.
Yeah.